Hi, I'm Kate from dailytarotworld.com, and today I'm going to show you how to read minor arcana cards that do not have scenes depicted on them. So there are many tarot decks out there, and I'm thinking of the Tarot of Marseille is a popular deck, the Thoth Tarot, and their minor arcana cards are kind of like this. This is actually from the Mystic Meg Tarot. This is the Eight of Water, or Eight of Cups, and as you can see, there are just 8 cups on this card. So the Rider-Waite version of this card is like this. So as you can see, there's a scene on this one. So a lot of readers struggle with interpreting decks like this. And the reason is that there's not a lot to work with on those cards. They're very Spartan, they're very basic, and there's not a ton of symbols and colors and things that you can work with. Now, up until 1910 was when the Rider-Waite-Smith deck came onto the scene, and it was totally unique in that the minor arcana cards had actual scenes on them, so pictures of things happening and people and all kinds of stuff happening on those minor arcana cards. Up until that point, all tarot decks were basically like the Mystic Meg, or like the Tarot of Marseille or the Thoth, where the minors, and sometimes these decks are called pip decks. So the pips, the minor arcana cards, didn't have a whole scene depicted on them. They're very basic cards. And then when the Rider-Waite deck came on the scene, it was so popular, and so now most tarot decks actually have fully illustrated minors. So it's not hard to get a deck like this. But some of you might be wondering, how can I read a deck that doesn't have a fully illustrated minor arcana? So I'm going to teach you 2 tips for doing that. There's 2 very basic techniques for reading cards that are not fully illustrated. So we're going to start by drawing a card, and I'm going to draw the Eight of Water, or the Eight of Cups, from the Mystic Meg tarot deck. And the first step that you want to go through when you get a card like this is ask yourself what suit it's from. So here we have, this is from the suit of water, or the suit of cups, and then ask yourself, what is this suit all about? So the suit of cups is about feelings, it's about emotion, and it can also be about relationships. So relationships with other people, with yourself, or a relationship to something like a job or something else. And this is where it's really helpful to know your suit qualities. So if you're a tarot beginner, let's do a really quick recap. So I just talked about the suit of cups. The suit of pentacles is a very earthy suit. So this is about physical things. This is about health, the body, money, work. And the suit of swords is all about the headspace, so rational thought, intellect, the mind, ideas, and communication. And the suit of wands is more about spirit and energy. So this suit is about passion and creativity and inspiration, things like that. So it's really important to kind of understand your suit qualities. One really cool exercise you can do that will help you is separate your minor arcana cards into 4 groups. So separate them by suit and lay them out in a line. So you'll have, one line will be the suit of pentacles, the next line suit of swords, and you can lay them out in 4 different categories and look at them all together and just kind of compare and contrast and get like a general feel for the vibe of each suit. Okay, so tip number 2, let's take a look at this card again. Tip number 2 is pay attention to the number on the card. So here we have an 8, and you don't have to know anything about numerology, because I don't know anything about it. If you do know stuff about numerology, you're one step ahead of the game, so you're on the right track if you do have that knowledge. Now, each number is represented in the minor arcana differently. So another cool exercise is grouping your minor arcana cards according to number. So, put all the aces together, all the twos, all the threes, and look at each number grouping, and you'll be able to see how each suit expresses that number differently. And again, you can kind of compare and contrast, and you can learn a lot about the numbers that way. So here we have an 8. Now, we don't know anything yet about what 8 means, but we know that it's an even number. So, and another cool exercise here with your cards is to look at the even-numbered minor arcana cards and compare them to the odd-numbered minor arcana cards. And what you'll notice is that a lot of the even-numbered minors represent stability, harmony, or possibly stagnancy and boredom. So when you think about it, something can be stable and boring. It can be harmonious, yet could also kind of be stagnant and not that exciting. So we have an even number card. And another thing we know about the number 8 is that it's kind of near the end of the ace to 10 spectrum. So if you think about the minor arcana cards, they take you through a journey from the ace to the number 10. And the number 8 is almost at number 10. So we've achieved a certain level of mastery here, but we're not quite at the end. Okay, so we've looked at the number, we've looked at the suit, and now it's time to put it all together. So knowing what we know about the number and the suit, what might we say about the 8 of Cups? So I might say something like, I might say that this signifies stability in a relationship, or of course it could be stagnancy. It could be stability and stagnancy in a relationship. It could also be it could also signify the fact that there's a stability with emotions, so feelings are fairly stable, but it could also be feelings are stagnant. So if this comes up in a reading, I might think, this person's feelings are stagnant. They might want something more. They might be looking for something a little juicier, a little more exciting. And so then, of course, if we compare it to the 8 of Cups, we know that the 8 of Cups is about searching for fulfillment, and particularly emotional fulfillment. And even though this figure on the card has 8 cups, they're all stacked up, there's one cup that's missing, and he's kind of gone off in search of that missing cup. So another thing that you can do when you're reading with these types of cards is, if you have a really good working knowledge of the Rider-Waite deck, you can just kind of imagine the equivalent card, and that can kind of jog a few memories for you. Okay, so as you can see, it's important to know your suit qualities and have a good kind of understanding of the numbers as well. And I think that's all I wanted to say. Let me just double check here, make sure I got everything there. Oh yeah, I wanna sort of touch on why you might want to read with these kinds of decks, because you might be asking yourself, like what would be the point of that? Because it just seems very confusing. So I've noticed that when I read with decks like these, where the minors are not fully illustrated, I feel like it creates a bit of space around the reading. So always looking at cards that are jam-packed with symbols and there's a lot going on, it can sometimes be like a lot of visual noise or a lot of mental noise. And looking at a very Spartan kind of card like this can actually kind of feel like the equivalent of stepping into an empty room, or a room that's sparsely furnished, and feeling kind of that relief in that breathing room, in that space where you can kind of connect with your intuition. Another thing I like about reading with these kinds of cards is, if you're reading for another person, I feel like if I'm reading with like a Rider-Waite style deck, that person, regardless of whether they know anything about tarot, is going to be able to look at the cards and kind of get a sense of what these cards mean. So there's, the 10 of Swords is like a really dramatic card, the 5 of Cups, 5 of Pentacles. A lot of cards are very kind of obvious what the meaning could be, and sometimes they'll be a bit shocked if it's kind of like a negative card, and then you have to explain to them like, no, it means this. And I find with pip decks, no one, no one, unless they're really, really experienced with tarot, is going to know what those cards mean. So I feel like it kind of frees me up a little bit. It gives me a little more creative license, and I feel like I can kind of relax more in the reading because I feel like I'm not going to have to explain certain cards to people and say, oh, no, you don't have to worry about that card. It's not that bad. So I kind of like that aspect of it. So I want to end with a challenge. So I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to give you another card. Again, this is from the Mystic Meg Tarot. And this is Four of Fire, so also known as Four of Wands. And I'm going to hand it over to you. My kitty's crying for me in the background, so I'm going to have to pay attention to her. So have a look at this card, and in the comments below, based on what we've learned in this video, based on what you know about tarot, how would you interpret this card? Yes? I'm going to show you my kitty because she really wants to come up. Come on, girl. So let me know in the comments below what you think of the Four of Fire or the Four of Wands, and I'd love to read your interpretation. My name is Kate. I'm from dailytarotgirl.com, and thank you so much for watching.